Hi everyone, it's Ben from BXM here. I'm going to talk to you today about what kit you need and how to pack your rucksack. This is really important because one, what I'm going to tell you is going to protect you from the elements. Two, it's going to make sure you have a good expedition. And three, you might be checked up on this by some of your instructors. First thing I'm going to say, obviously, is you're going to need a rucksack. A rucksack should be about 65 litres. Now, if you go too much bigger than that, it'll be too big, and also the shoulders, straps start to become wider. If you go below 65 litres, you're unlikely to fit everything in. So try and go for a 65 litre rucksack. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is line that rucksack. So we use bin bags or bin liners or rubble sacks. You can buy rucksack liners, but it's not really necessary. And you're going to need to line it to make sure that everything that goes inside is going to be dry. No rucksack is waterproof, even if it says it on the label, even if it's got a cover. The next thing you're going to need is a sleeping bag. Now we say at BXM get a 3-season sleeping bag. 2-season you'll probably be all right, but you might be a little bit cold if it's a cold night. 1-season is not good enough, and a 4-season is going to be too big and too bulky. So go for a 3-season sleeping bag. Then you're going to need a sleeping mat. You either get the roll-up traditional type that go on the outside of the rucksack, or you get the self-inflating ones. They have a little valve, you open them out, and then they self-inflate to about 2.5 centimeters. With all of these things, you're going to put your sleeping bag in its own bin liner and put it in your bag, and then you're going to get your sleeping mat, whether that's on the outside or the inside of your rucksack, and you're going to put that in its own bin bag and put that in the bag as well. Other things you're going to need in your bag are going to be a head torch. If you've got a handheld torch at home, no problem, but it's better to have a head torch, especially if you need to get up in the middle of the night. You'll see on every kit list, it says you must have a wash kit, but we don't want you to get carried away with this. What we really need you to have is a toothbrush and toothpaste if you want friends in the morning, some soap, some deodorant, and if you are going to bring a towel, make sure it's a very small one. In your bag, you should have a small first aid kit. All we really want is you to have some plasters in case you get blisters or a small cut, and one bandage. And the reason we ask you to bring one bandage is there could be 6 or 7 people in your group. So within your group, you're going to have plenty of bandages should you need them. Please don't be afraid to use these if you need them. You're going to need a mess tin, and your mess tin is like a small cooking pot, but it needs to have a handle. You're going to cook in it, you're going to eat out of it, so you're definitely going to need one of those. You're going to need knife, fork and spoon to eat with. We need you to be able to take 2 litres of water. So don't bring one big 2-litre bottle, because if it splits, you're going to lose it all, or it'll be on one side of your rucksack and it'll weigh it over. And make sure you've got that with you full up on arrival at the start of the expedition. So now we're going to talk about your clothing, and I'm going to start with your footwear right at the bottom, and I'm going to work my way up. You're going to need a good pair of walking boots. If you're doing bronze, and I insist this is only for bronze, you could get away with trail shoes. That's not trainers, not wellies, that is walking shoes. But if you're doing silver or gold, it is an absolute must. You have to have walking boots. You're then going to need walking socks. And I would advise you to have 1 pair of walking socks per day. You're then going to need leg wear. And the reason I say leg wear is because you don't have to have walking trousers. You could have leggings, you could have sports trousers. You're going to need 2 sets of that. Moving on up, we're going to talk about the base layer. Now, a base layer is something like what I'm wearing here. It's very thin, it wicks the moisture away, and it dries very quickly when it gets wet. If it's going to be a cold day, you might want to get a thermal long-sleeved instead. A good thing for the summertime is things like your PE tops, sports tops. It doesn't have to be an outdoor brand base layer. You're going to need 1 of those per day. Mid layer comes above that, and that's like a thin fleece or a soft shell jacket. Please don't go for a big thick hoodie. They're not going to dry for days, they'll make you cold, and they'll be very heavy. You're going to need 2 sets of that. The next layer is going to be your outer layer, which is a waterproof jacket. That would mean that it's got a hood, it's got a good zip, and on the inside the cotton seams should be taped. If you're doing gold or if it's really wet, you should also bring some waterproof trousers. A lot of the time it's just to protect you from the wind, not necessarily just the rain. We're going to have 2 sets of clothes, your dry set and your wet set. The set of clothes you turn up in is going to be called your wet set. If it does rain, that set is going to get wet. Your other set is going to be in its own bin liner, and it's going to be called your dry set. So when you get to campsite at night, you're going to set up your tent, you're going to put your nice dry sleeping bag in there and your dry sleeping mat in there, and you're going to put your nice warm dry clothes on. You're going to have a lovely night's sleep. You're going to get up in the morning. As you get out of your tent, you're going to put your wet set back on and your dry set back in your bag, meaning that your entire expedition, you will have a safety set of clothes that will stay dry to keep you warm if ever you need them. So the final thing I'm going to mention is hat and gloves. If it's going to be a nice hot day, make sure you bring a summer cap or a hat, a bucket hat, something to protect yourself. If it's going to be a colder day, make sure you bring a winter hat, like a bobble hat or a beanie hat. You must have a hat for DV. The other thing you should bring if it's going to be cold is gloves. What you don't want is your hands getting cold and then not being able to warm them up. So that's it from me. The final thing I'll say is we've teamed up with Kit for Trips, which is www.kit4trips.co.uk. Now, if you go on that website, they've got one item of everything, which is perfect for DV. At a click of a button, you can buy one of everything, and it is a really, really good price. You can actually get to it through our website, through BXM website, click on the kit shop, and it'll take you to that website. Enjoy your expedition, and I'll hopefully see you there.